if you have like 10 Vikings, that's 6 tanks, or even almost 7 tanks, you will have less, and that is going to
Yeah.
be a very big deal because Vikings are literally useless against Ultralists nowadays.
Well, what do you feel would be the best way to just straight up defeat this Ultraling Infestor style? Because I feel like you do have a lot of advantages going for you in this match. One, that you are like cross positions. And because the map is Metalopolis, you can expand away from your Terran opponent almost no matter what. Really, the gold expansion is the only expo where you're going towards your opponent. That's the only time you're ever saying, oh, here's a new vulnerability. But it seems like all the rest of the time, Terran is making himself more vulnerable over time. I mean, do you feel that this style works as effectively on Lost Temple or Kulas Ravine, where it's tighter spaces, closer distances, more terrain to abuse?
It does work pretty well on Lost Temple. I had some games there as well, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure on Kula's Ravine. I haven't played Cirque vs. Terran on Kula's Ravine for quite some
Mm-hmm.
time. But I believe if as long as you kill like every single rock on the map, which doesn't protect your own bases, you might be able to be fine.
Huh. That's interesting. And I think that on that map, that burrowed infestor play would be even stronger, and also the Zergling just runarounds because there's like a million and one ways to get wherever you want to go on Kulas Ravine. But let's get
Yeah.
back. Let's get back to your fancy play against Jinro. Jinro's still holding down in hero hold mode, so I'm gonna be resuming in 3, 2, 1, play. We are currently at 21 minutes and 54 seconds into this replay, and I'm still noting that there's a good chunk of time left. At this stage in the game, are you feeling like you're at an advantage? I mean, if I look at the food differential, you're still at about the same food.
Well, as long as I have Ultra Disc and I can produce a lot of units, I feel confident that I can win the game.
Your intent is just on starving him.
Well, I was pretty sure I can break him at some point as soon as I can whittle down his tank numbers a little bit and force him to get even more planetary fortresses.
Mm-hmm. And you know,
I
you're.
mean,
Oh,
now
go
he
ahead.
has basically 3 places he has to defend because he has a top expansion, his main base, and the well middle expansion, and I can
Mm-hmm.
attack any of them.
And what was the thing that I was going to say? Oh yeah, I'm noticing that in the unit counting station that you have 77 drones, and you were saying earlier on that you don't really want to have too many drones. Like 100 is going to be a little high, but I'm noticing that at your natural, the bottom right expansion, the bottom mid expansion, and like your other bottom mid expansion, the other main, you have a decent amount of drones at each of them, and you're taking the center. Do you think it would be beneficial to cut more drones and to try to just get more gas up earlier?
Well, I lost my army at one point, so I thought I need some more drones so I can rebuild it. But if you don't lose your main army, you shouldn't rebuild any drones. And one thing I also want to notice, I only have 2 greens because I believe. Oh no, I have 3 greens, but that might be too much because if you have enough hatcheries, you
Yeah.
won't need a lava inject on every hatch, and a queen is 2 supply as well. So you should be, you should try to save up as much supply you can spend for your army as you can, as you can.
Yeah, that is a great point about the queen taking up energy, and as we clearly see, the Ultralists have easily busted the top once you got a good setup there. And by the way, to block spaces more easily in this game, you need to tap hold position. The pathfinding is just so good in this game, and I'll get back to that after we see the rest of these Ultralists explode into gelatin onto the ground. But that counterattack at the top was really effective. I mean, just the Zergling drop on all the tanks that were positioned by this missile turret. Because I'm going to pause one more time. I'm at 25 minutes and 6 seconds. In StarCraft 1, there were these common techniques that you would use to just bust an entrenched position. Dark Swarm, the obvious choice for Zerg. Also, Guardians could bust positions pretty easily if you had lurkers to back them up. And also, exactly what we saw here, where you would run up with an army on ground and an army in overlords and drop the overlord army in the back. Is that do you have any opinion on other good techniques to bust things open? Because it seems like Zerg is limited more to Broodlords and Ultralisks in their hive tech play. They don't really have a third bust option like Dark Swarm.
Well, as long as Terran doesn't have turrets everywhere, you could also maybe use like 15 roaches to move in a bird way to your opponent, and then bow right on top of the siege tanks in the same moment when you attack. Maybe,
Huh.
I don't know. I haven't tested that.
And also to exploit like your opponent's lack of mobility and all that good jazz. I haven't seen you really use too many Nidus worms. You're just using drops straight up. Is there any reason for that? I mean, you seem to have enough overlords to do the dropping stuff, but it seems like it would be a little bit easier to just keep your whole army back and to just Nidus worm up all over the place. Do you have any opinions on that?
I should probably use some more Nidus Worms, but they are also very gas heavy, so every Nidus Worm I use will almost take as much gas as a new Ultralisk.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but it's good. It's a good point. I mean, you can probably spend some minerals and gas on Nidus Worms from time to time. I
Yeah.
need to implement that in my play.
Yeah,
Good idea.
Sen again is a very responsible player when it comes to planting lots of Nidus worms. So we are going to continue with the game. I'm going to be resuming in 3, 2, 1, play. I'm at 25:08. So General really looks like he hasn't had the opportunity to push back at any point this game. He's just desperately trying to rebuild. We even see some drops coming at the bottom. Do you think that this drop's overdue? Because I really feel like this would have been the one way that General could have really pierced your defense a little bit more easily and sort of stop these pushes is by Hellion dropping and killing off a lot of workers.
Yeah, you should have dropped a little bit more, but I also should have created the overlord chain across the map so I can see the drops, and
Yeah,
then maybe have an infestor at my most exposed bases so I can win enough time until my reinforcements are there. But if you have creep on the whole map, circlings are like in like 10 seconds at every single base you have, so you can defend really fast.
Yeah, that's something I was having a discussion with someone about earlier, that basically creep everywhere is the replacement for Scourge. Scourge helped you cover the map and cover a huge number of bases from air, but now if your units can just get there fast enough, then that's what creep does. And now I finally see some infestors coming into the mix. Is there any reason you weren't using the infestors earlier on in these army compositions? Because I can definitely see some spots where neural parasites would have been super useful.
Yeah, I should probably have gotten infestors a little bit earlier, but I felt like Shinra had a lot of tanks, and I was afraid he would just focus the infestors. And I felt like I would need a strong, normal ground army to break them at some point, but now the infestors are doing a really great job.
Yeah, now you're having all the Thors kill one another. And finally, some tanks are starting to advance down. I mean, it's pretty absurd how few units Jinro seems to have around the map. He has, like, what, 5 tanks here and 2 Thors, and he's still at, like, 130 food. I mean, that clearly is, like, super expensive. Just going to the unit counting station, yeah. Just 7 tanks, 4 Thors, 2 dropships, and that's still more than enough to keep him up at, the hundreds of food. And there's that brutal headbutt. And is this the way that most of your Met games normally go? Do you normally have this straightforward time that, you get the Ultralisk relatively fast, and then you just keep pressuring until you've won?
Well, sometimes I get them a lot later, because versus Shinro I did my circling opener, but I've been doing a lot of openings where I get roaches, and then on layer tech I get bird movement before I get speed upgrade for roaches, and then I'm trying to hold the timing pushes of the Terran or attack with my roaches. And then I'm getting my Ultralisk a lot later because I spend a lot of gas for my roaches, obviously.
And there's more neural parasiting. The tanks unsiege, and you just go, no, I actually did want those siege, and pop them right back up again. Easy for Breezy. And of course Jinro's still hanging in there, which of course I have immense respect for. Seriously, never give up, never surrender. He's got this. He'll
No,
be
never.
fine. I do note that he managed to take out this Expo with the Thor drop. I suppose, do you think that just playing defensively as mech and doing a lot more drop stuff is the best? Or do you think that he messed up with his composition somewhere along the lines?
It's hard to say. I believe you might need to add some bionic units into your mixture as well to beat Ultralists. Because Marauders should be able to deal a lot of damage against Ultralists if you micro them properly.
Yeah. But I mean, a lot of people feel uncomfortable splitting up, factories and barracks. A lot of people like to remain focused. Do you think that holds as true as it was in Brood War? Because in Brood War, an army like yours is ideal. Only melee